Good late morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, April 16th, approaching 11:40 a.m. now, and welcome into the early portion of today's video weather discussion, where we are going to have an update now on that severe weather risk that we're expecting across much of the state of Illinois. For the day today and even into tonight as well. We'll continue to watch that risk being possible. So to kick things off here on this video, we're taking a wide look at the radar here across the central United States. And you can see there is a lot going on already. We have an area of low pressure that's back here in the Nebraska area. There is a trailing cold front that kind of arcs out from that low pressure down across eastern Kansas, which is about to move into Missouri shortly. That cold front then trails down into Oklahoma as well. And you will see here, ahead of that cold front, we do have showers and thunderstorms ongoing from Missouri up into Iowa, up into Minnesota, and then that activity curls back into the Dakotas as well. And some of this activity across Iowa and Missouri this morning has already been severe. There's been widespread damaging winds, some hail, even a couple of tornadoes have already occurred this morning across portions of Iowa and Missouri. So what we're expecting to have happen here is this arc of showers and thunderstorms that is already ongoing is expected to continue to push off in a northeasterly direction here over the next several hours through this afternoon, and eventually this line of activity will make it across central and northern Illinois here during the afternoon and probably into the evening hours as well. So as this activity does move into the northeast, into the east, it could have a severe weather potential with it. Additionally, we will be watching for a second round of activity to develop during the middle of the day today and in the afternoon as well. So in the wake of this first round of activity, we will see a second round of activity develop across Iowa down into Missouri and a little bit further south as well. And you could already see the beginnings of that second round of activity down here in the vicinity of the frontal boundary that's sweeping to the east down here in eastern Kansas. That is the beginnings of that second round of activity. And this that is developing down across southeast Kansas will eventually move northeastward through the day today, and in the wake of this first round of activity, we'll also see potentially a second round of activity develop further to the north as well, as it is looking right now. So with that said here, let's take a peek at short-term high-resolution model here. This is the RRFS experimental model here. This is pretty much current time. As you can see here, it is picking up those showers and thunderstorms across Missouri, up in Iowa and Minnesota that I just showed you on the current radar here. And as we go through the afternoon here, what you're going to notice is two different things. The first thing is you could see the first wave of showers and thunderstorms does continue to push off towards the northeast, as I showed you, as I expect here on the current radar. Another thing you'll notice is that activity that I showed you on the radar along the southeastern Kansas area right now begins to move northeastward across northern and central Missouri. So if we follow this activity along during the afternoon here, by the time we get to the middle of the afternoon, this is right around 3 p.m., you'll notice that first round of activity is now moving into eastern Iowa, northwestern, western Illinois as it continues to move off towards the northeast. And we have that second round of activity that originated down in southeast Kansas has now moved all the way up into northern Missouri, southern Iowa as it continues to move off towards the northeast as well. Continuing on here, you'll see that that first round of activity kind of lingering around a little bit. It's most vigorous up here in northeastern Iowa, southeastern Minnesota, southwestern Wisconsin. That's the first round of activity still going on as we head into later afternoon. And you'll notice that second round of activity has gotten going, has continued to keep going, as I said, from southeastern Kansas. It has now moved up in the vicinity of the Quad Cities area. And as we move into the evening, you can see how that traverses across portions of northern Illinois. You will see here, you will notice as we go through time, as it moves further and further to the east, it does weaken a little bit and become more scattered and diminish a little bit with time. And that is because the highest threat for the day, with the best environment, the best instability, the best shear, the best lapse rates, everything that is the best for the environment is going to be out across this area today. So that's why the best potential for severe weather today will be out here across that northern Missouri, western, northwestern Illinois area, back into southwestern Wisconsin, up into Iowa as well. That's going to be the best environment for severe weather today. But that's not to exclude you folks across the rest of the state, because the rest of you folks will see a severe weather threat today as well. So with that said here, let's just hop into it here with our severe weather forecast, because we have made a change, and that change was to increase severe weather probabilities. So when we increase severe weather probabilities, it's based on coverage. So if you're across southern Illinois, the blue shaded area, level 1 severe thunderstorm risk, isolated severe thunderstorm potential down there across southern Illinois. If you are in the green shaded corridor from near St. Louis up across I-70, up into the Chicago area, northeastern Illinois, back down in the east central and parts of central Illinois, this green shaded color is level 2 severe thunderstorm risk. That's where slightly higher coverage is expected compared to the level 1 risk. So a widely scattered severe thunderstorm potential in that corridor. Then, as we continue to work further to the north, this yellow shaded corridor from near Rockford in the I-39 corridor down through LaSalle, Peoria area, near the Quincy area, this yellow shaded corridor is a level 3 severe thunderstorm risk, and that's where you could see scattered severe thunderstorms being possible. And lastly, you'll notice this big orange area, which is the new part of the map that we have added here. That is a level 4 severe thunderstorm risk. So across the orange area, the level 4 severe thunderstorm risk, that's where numerous severe thunderstorms are possible. So once again, these risk areas are based on coverage of severe weather possible. Coverage of severe weather. Now, regarding the threats for today, no matter if you're in the level 4, the level 3, the level 2, or the level 1 risk, damaging winds and hail will be the threat across all risk levels today. Once again, damaging winds and hail will be possible across all risk levels today. However, if you're across pretty much this corridor roughly down here, if you're northeastern Illinois, the Chicago area, down in the east central southern Illinois, you will have an isolated tornado risk. However, you folks up here across northwestern and western Illinois back into Iowa and Missouri, you could see some tornadoes. Let's just put it that way. Some tornadoes will be possible. Could be several tornadoes being possible across that corridor, because across this corridor, that is where we're expecting to see the best environment for severe weather today. Good low-level instability, good instability throughout the column as well. Going to be dealing with a plume of more moderate lapse rates coming in, so that's good to see. A lot of moisture poking up here, dew points into the 60s as well. So a lot to work with here in terms of a severe weather environment today, especially out here across northwestern and western Illinois. So not only are we expecting the highest coverage of severe weather out here across northwestern and western Illinois, the highest coverage, but the greatest potential for significant severity of severe weather will also be out here across western and northwestern Illinois as well for the day today. So with that said here, let's check in on the video chat. See many of you tuning in today from both Facebook Live and YouTube. Thank you all for tuning in. Nate checking in. How's it going today? Let's see. We have Chris out in Bureau County. Yes, your severe weather threat is pretty much going to be from the middle of the day today, so pretty much from noon all the way into this evening for your area out in the Bureau County area. So early afternoon through the evening out there. Jerry checking in from Pekin down there near the Peoria area. Yeah, you're going to have severe weather threat as well. Your threat will be the afternoon into the evening hours as well. Ellen checking in from northern Illinois. The general time frame for many areas, honestly, is going to be during the afternoon and the evening. If you're across northeast eastern and southern Illinois. Your threat will probably also linger into tonight as well, but for a majority of the state, at least a severe weather threat during the afternoon and evening today. Patty checking in from the Quad Cities area. Unfortunately, your area could be ground zero out there across northwestern and western Illinois for this severe weather threat. Amanda checking in regarding the level 2 risk area. Yes, if you're in the level 2 risk area, you could still see an isolated tornado threat in addition to that damaging wind and hail threat, but without a doubt, the greatest tornado threat today is going to be out here across those yellow and orange shaded areas, which are those level 2 and level 3 risk areas. All right, Matt checking in, wondering which direction the storms will be moving. They will be moving in a northeast or east-northeasterly direction today. Margot checking in from out, I believe it would be Carroll County. Yes, you're going to have a severe weather threat out that way as well. How's it going, Wally? Checking in from Elmwood Park. You could have that severe weather threat later this afternoon, this evening, and into early tonight. Katie checking in from out in Galesburg. Yes, as you can see here on the forecast graphic, you folks are in a level 4 severe weather risk. For the threat of severe weather this afternoon and evening. Cody checking in from Moline. Any chance of a moderate outlook? Technically, this is our version of a moderate risk. So, Storm Prediction Center has marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, and high risk. Well, our level 4 risk is equal to a level or a moderate risk by the Storm Prediction Center. So we pretty much have a moderate risk out here. The Storm Prediction Center has an enhanced risk out, but obviously they will continue to update things through the day today. All right, Cassandra, Rockford area, damaging winds and hail a threat, also potentially a tornado threat as well. Brian from Grundy County, Nicole from Bartlett area. Yes, as you can see here on the map, both of you folks are in that level 2 risk area as well. Charles wondering if the cloud cover moving in will affect things. This is a tricky day because we're having 2 rounds of activity being possible, and yes, there are some clouds around as well. However, we are seeing quite a bit of advection occurring across Missouri, and that'll eventually move a little bit further east up into the Mississippi River Valley, portion of Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois, and eventually further to the east as well. So even though we might not see everyone have sun today for that extra boost in destabilization, we're at least going to be seeing advection with a warm conveyor moving in from the south that will advect in greater environment supportive of severe weather, especially as you can see out there across western and northwestern Illinois. Mary checking in from down in Pike County. Yes, you'll have that severe weather threat down there as well this afternoon and evening. Debbie checking in from down in Sparta, that's down in southern Illinois. You will also have an isolated severe weather threat down there for you folks in southern Illinois. That'll be mostly probably mid-afternoon into early tonight as it looks. Leo checking in from the Joliet area. Yes, there could be a severe weather threat around 7 p.m. this evening. Robert wondering if these risk areas could shift east. This is actually going to be our final forecast going through the rest of the day today and into tonight. We'll just be doing, updates on what is actually occurring at that point in time. So this is going to be our last final forecast update here as it looks right now. Confidence is pretty good. All right, I see a lot of folks asking what to expect in your particular town. If you're asking what to expect in your particular town, I'm just going to guide you over to the forecast graphic because it will tell you what you need to know based on the risk level. Like I said, the risk levels are based on coverage. So if you're in that level 1 risk, your coverage of severe weather is going to be the lowest. Only an isolated severe thunderstorm threat across that level 1 risk area. But as you go up in those risk levels, all the way up to the level 4 risk area across western and northwestern Illinois, that's where you could see numerous severe weather being possible. Numerous severe thunderstorms, that is. Christopher wondering what an isolated tornado threat means. That essentially means there might be an isolated tornado or two that occurs. for some areas down there across northeastern, eastern, central, and southern Illinois. Shane wondering what the speed of the storms today will be. They're going to be moving off at a quick pace, probably on the order of 40 to 50 miles an hour movement today, maybe even a little bit over 50 mile per hour movement today. So these are going to be fairly steadily moving along today, these storms, at a pretty decent pace overall. Joseph wondering what the best timing for the discrete mode. We're already seeing some discrete activity develop down there across portions of Missouri. And we're going to continue to see discrete development through the day today as well. So it's going to kind of be a mixed mode. We could see a little bit of line segment activity, and when you get those line segments, that could be more of a damaging wind potential. And then we could also see the cellular, supercellular, the discrete mode, which is where you get more of that hail threat, and also you get more of that tornado threat as well. All right, here, Don wondering how soon do we believe watches will be issued? That's always hard to say because that's all done by the National Weather, the Storm Prediction Center. They're the ones who issue the watches. So it's really hard to say what's going on in their minds as to when watches will be issued and what kind of watches will be issued. But without a doubt, do expect some weather watches across the state as we head later today, especially during the afternoon, the evening, and into tonight as well. All right, now let's try to get to a couple more questions here. I'm a little bit short on time, so we're not going to get to all the questions here this morning. Jennifer checking in here regarding the level 4 threat. Yes, I could touch base regarding the level 4 threat once again. So if you're in actually the yellow area or the orange area, that's the level 3 and level 4 threat areas. That's where you're going to see the highest coverage of severe weather. And then also, you'll notice this kind of area here with these dashed lines. This area that I'm about to circle here with these dashed lines, that's called hatching. So that's where the most significant of the severe weather is expected to occur. That's where we could see some very high damaging wind gusts being possible, maybe over 75 miles an hour, maybe some very large hail up to or over 2 inches in diameter. And that's also this corridor here that I circled with these dashed lines. That's also where we could see the best potential for tornadoes, a couple of which maybe could be on the stronger side or on the long track side. So that's what those little dashed lines mean. It's called hatching. The Storm Prediction Center also does this to signify where they think the most significant severe weather could occur as well. And we pretty much do the same thing. So once again, the risk levels, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the risk levels are based on coverage. Now, when we're talking about significance, anytime you see this area of hatching here, which is these little dashed lines here, that's when we're starting to talk about significance of severe weather. So if you're ever in that area here with those little dashed lines, that's called hatching, and that's where we're forecasting the greatest significance of severe weather. So once again here, northwestern and western Illinois, you folks are under the gun for the potentially greatest significance of severe weather and the greatest coverage of severe weather as we go through the day today and into tonight as well. See a lot of folks tuning in from northeastern Illinois, the Chicago metro area. Once again, you folks are in a level 2 severe thunderstorm risk, which means widely scattered severe thunderstorms likely across the Chicago metro area in northeastern Illinois. All modes of severe weather possible, damaging winds, hail, and an isolated tornado risk for the Chicago metro area. All right, let's try to get in a couple more comments and questions here before I do have to wrap this up. Joe here checking in, wondering if there's a flood concern with this activity. A lot of this activity will be moving very fast, but some of it could be on the heavier side, and if you get both rounds of activity, that rain could add up a little bit. So why we are not expecting widespread flooding concerns, you know, we're getting into the warm season now, and once we get into the, you know, the spring, the summer, even into the early fall with thunderstorm activity, it tends to be very hit or miss as to where it's heavy and where it's not heavy. So this is the time of year we start to see localized flooding being possible with any sort of thunderstorm event. But at this point, like I said, not expecting widespread heavy rainfall and not expecting widespread flooding potential. But like I said, we're at the time of year where any sort of thunderstorm could produce some some localized flooding. I see a couple folks asking if this forecast can change. Once again, this is our final forecast update. Going forward through the rest of today and into tonight, we will just be providing updates of what's going on in real time, whether it's warnings, radar, whatnot. So going forward for the rest of today and into tonight, it'll be more of an update of what's going on in real time. Once again, this is our last overall forecast update. All right here, see a lot of folks asking what to expect for their particular backyards. Once again, depending on where you live across the map, as you go up in risk level, your coverage of severe weather potential will increase. So once again, level 1 risk across southern Illinois is an isolated severe weather risk. Level 2 risk from northeastern down in the east central Illinois, that's widely scattered severe thunderstorm potential. The yellow corridor from up near Rockford down through Peoria, Quincy, that yellow corridor, scattered severe weather. Then for you folks in northwestern and western Illinois, the Quad Cities area, that level 4 severe thunderstorm risk, that's where you will see numerous severe thunderstorms being possible. So once again, the levels of risk are based on coverage, potential coverage of severe weather. Now in terms of intensity here, once again, you'll notice this area that I'm circling here, from central Illinois, west central Illinois, up into northwestern Illinois, back into Iowa, Missouri. This area here with these little dashed lines, this is called hatching. This is where the potential for the most significant severe weather will be today. So this is also going to be the area we're watching for the greatest tornado potential today as well. So if you're out there across, once again, northwestern Illinois, down into western Illinois, that is going to be your greatest chance to see the most significance of severe weather, and that is also where the best tornado potential will be today as well. Now in terms of timing, once again, for timing, pretty much folks in this corridor out here, if you live out here across northwestern, west central Illinois, your timing is pretty much from now through this evening. If you live on the other side of this line, let me go back and fix that. If you live on the east side of this line, northeastern, eastern, southern Illinois, your threat is more going to be mid-afternoon into early tonight or so. So once again, out here to the west, your threat is pretty much from now until through this evening, whereas areas further to the east here, your threat is going to be more so mid-afternoon into early tonight. So that's kind of a breakdown on timing, because I know I've seen a lot of timing questions as well. All right here, so with that said, let's get to two more questions here really quickly. See Matt checking in here, curious the difference in your levels of coverage versus the SPC. Our risk levels are the same. Like I said, our risk and the Storm Prediction Center risks, they're based on coverage. So essentially, we're expecting a little bit higher coverage of severe weather potential out here compared to the Storm Prediction Center. Now, in terms of significance, the Storm Prediction Center forecasts it the same way as we do. Pretty much this hatched area, these little dashed lines, the Storm Prediction Center does this as well. When you see that hatching, that's where the most significance of the severe weather will be, whereas the risk areas, once again, are the coverage of severe weather. So with that said, going to have to end this here because I am a little bit short on time, but hopefully I answered as many of your questions as I could. I did try to answer some of them in more of a broad way to cover more of them at one time. But once again, we do have a severe weather threat across the entire state of Illinois for this afternoon through this evening and into tonight. As you can see, the highest coverage and the greatest significance of severe weather will be out here across western and northwestern Illinois, also back into Missouri and Iowa as well, up into southwestern Wisconsin. That is where the greatest coverage and most significance of severe weather will be today. Once again, this is this afternoon, this evening, and into tonight. We will monitor the situation fully through the day today and into tonight, and we will provide additional updates as needed. So stay tuned to our Facebook page. We got our Twitter page or X page, our YouTube, we have Instagram, our website. Stay tuned, and we will provide updates throughout the day today. But for now, keep an eye to the weather through the day today. Watch for those updates, and have a great Tuesday.